Hello, everybody. I'm Mikey.
And I'm Corey.
Every week we discuss and review a new book, movie, album, TV show, or honestly any piece of art or culture that ourselves and you guys choose. This is Mind Control. So there was these people who were being kidnapped and mind controlled.
Exactly, dude. And I can totally see how that happened. Because, like, imagine if you were just given acid or just drugs like that that are so disorienting for hours and hours on end and never being able to come down and not feeling safe and having somebody tell you things and accuse you of things, you know? Yeah.
Mind control. That's how we do it, baby. GG's Mind Control.
On this week's episode of Mind Control, we're going to be discussing the 2010 Korean revenge film, I Saw the Devil. Directed by Ji-woon Kim, who wrote it along with Park Hoon-jung, the film was released on August 12, 2010 in South Korea. Originally, the Korea Media Rating Board forced Kim to recut the film twice because of its graphic nature. Had Kim not recut the film, it would have landed itself a restricted rating and would not have been released in theaters or video in Korea. I Saw the Devil stars Lee Byung-hun as a secret agent bent on revenge for the brutal killing of his fiancée, played by Oh San-ha, at the hands of a psychopathic serial killer, played by Choi Min-sik. The film also stars Jeon Guk-won as Squad Chief Jang, whose daughter is the one murdered. Unlike typical revenge films, our hero plays a game of catch and release with the killer, adding his own brand of torture to get true revenge. I Saw the Devil is much more than your average revenge film, though. It poses the question, how far is too far? In the quest for vengeance, we see our hero become a monster himself, begging the questions, can revenge occur without humanizing the beast and turning the victim into a monster? And is revenge healthy or just a mechanism of destruction for all involved? This is Ji-woon Kim's I Saw the Devil.
Let me finish this cough. Sorry. First hit of the day.
I got that mini Lord Farquaad hit going on right now.
I was just thinking that. I was going to say that, but I was like, I'm not going to just fucking roast this dude. This is the first thing I say.
No, bro. So when because I had my hair, pretty fucking long for a little bit. And when I was at the other school, at the middle school working, I had come back from the year and I had kind of cut, but it started growing out again. So it was like at that awkward, like longer than this weird phase. And like, there's this chick in the class and like, they have autism, but like, she would always like say shit, but like always the nicest shit. Like, it was always like compliments. And then she's like, oh, Mr. Corey, I really like your hair. And I was like, oh, thanks. And she's like, Lord Farquaad. And I was like, oh, damn. I was like, did she just roast me? And but she was legit. She's like, oh, I love it. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, this is terrible.
Have you ever seen that in some scene in that movie, he gets like a boner? It's like when he's.
I know there's a couple scenes in that movie that I get a boner.
There's a part when he's like, when Lord Farquaad is talking to the mirrors and he's like looking at all the princesses. There's one princess, I forget which it was, and he goes, and she's like, oh, and then like, if you look at the sheet on the bed, there's a rise where his dick is, but it's like so subtle you don't really notice it. But if you watch it back, he even goes, oh, and he looks at the camera. And you will never notice it unless you're told. It's fucking funny.
I'm gonna have to watch it again just for that, just for the bone.
We should do a whole episode on accidental boners in movies.
Oh, dude, yeah, like especially like Disney shit in like cartoons. Yeah. There's a lot. Really? But nah, bro. So man, this movie was actually a really good pick. How did you hear about it again? Did you just read about it?
Well, I listen to a lot of podcasts, you know that, and fucking the main reason that way I saw it was actually, can you move your camera a little bit to your left? Yeah, like that. Perfect.
Like that. It's on center.
yeah, that's good. All right. So I listen to a lot of podcasts, and there's this podcast with Bobby Lee and Andrew Santino called Bad Friends. And Bobby Lee is always talking about this movie, and he's like, dude, I saw the devil. He's brought it up in multiple podcasts, and then there was some podcast he brought it up again and talked about it. And then the dude who, like, one of the producers was like, dude, it's the best. And like, they were like all hyped about it. And then so like the day after is when I suggested it to you, just from them too, how they got excited about it. And Bobby Lee, I guess, is into a lot of like Korean horror films. Like he's into that shit.
He's the comedian, right?
Yeah, Bobby Lee from Mad TV.
Yeah, Matthew.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
cool.
he's fucking hilarious. I love that
Yeah.
podcast. Bad Friends, probably my favorite podcast next to Joe Rogan's podcast. It's so fucking funny. But anyways, the way they talked about it, like a classical revenge flick and shit.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. It's just like, all right, fuck it. If we're I like watching horror movies, like standalone horror movies, because it's good for this podcast, I think.
Yeah, and I think also too, just like foreign films in general, they're like different, because like this is a revenge movie, but it's not like the American revenge movies, like it's like kind of makes you like, I don't know, like like Man on Fire, like with Denzel Washington,
okay.
that movie,
yeah,
like that movie's revenge, badass. Like in the end, you feel badass
with the little girl,
like yeah, like it's badass, like you want like, and this is too like because like watching it and for people who haven't seen it, like the guy that's actually that he's fucking with and getting the revenge on is a piece of shit and deserves everything that happens to him. But in the end, like with the things that happen to his girlfriend or to his fiance's family and shit, it kind of like poses the question like how far is too far,
I feel you.
And like when does revenge cross over from not being like, I don't know, not even being like healthy. Not that it's ever healthy, but it's like I actually read this thing last night because I was reading about it. And they brought it up, which I didn't, I guess, catch, but it makes sense. Is they were saying how, because it was on Reddit. They were going on about just how amazing this movie was too, and they were talking about how that, the main guy. Okay, so for people who haven't seen it, the main guy is a secret agent. I have their names and pronunciations, and I'm gonna do my best. But if I butcher them,
just call him Lee.
Apologize. What?
And they call him Lee in the English movie?
Yeah. So So we'll call him Lee, and then I guess we could just do it that way. But some of the names, like I had to write down the pronunciations. And I was like, man, sure. I do not want to butcher them. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's like Bai Young Hon Lee. Yeah, that's the secret agent. But he's the main character, and then his wife is killed fiance is killed pretty early on in the movie within like the first like 20 minutes but brutally by this killer named Men-sik Choi. That's the name in the movie.
No, that's
that's the
actor's
actor.
name.
I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. Jang Kyung Chol is his name in the movie.
Or Choi.
And
that's
then
what it says here. I think
Choi,
they called him that
Choi.
in the movie, yeah.
Yeah, Choi. Damn, see, I'm already fucking it up.
I have it written in front of me, bro. I pulled it up for this purpose because I knew this was gonna like. I'm gonna start doing that more with the movies. Have the titles and the actors and shit pulled up.
So the secret agent, his name is Lee in real life, right?
His name is Lee Byung-hun.
Yeah, in real life, right?
And then and then his name in the movie is Kim Soo-hyun or Lee.
Okay, cool. Damn, you say fucking better than me, bro. I have the pronunciation. You sound like a native Korean, bro.
It's that when you have that Mexican dialect, I think it helps you pronounce other shit.
Yeah, bro. I thought you were Korean for a second. I was like, damn, the way you were hitting that. But anyways, the killer, sick fuck, takes her and like brutalizes her, cuts off her body, cuts off her head, fucking pretty much tortures her. And you find out that he's been doing it for a while. And anyways, this secret agent obviously finds out who he is and wants revenge on him. And instead of just getting the classic revenge where you find him, you torture him, what he does is kind of like a cat and mouse game. He finds him, he fucks him up. He put a tracker on him. Yeah. And then he fucking lets him go. So he like heals. And then every time he's about to attack another girl or something, he shows up, fucks him up again, lets him heal. But then it gets to the point where the guy who actually finds out who the secret agent is and goes after his people in his life. But anyways, what I was trying to say with the Reddit thing is I just wanted to give that background, is they were bringing up that in order for him to get revenge, he had to, because this guy was a monster, the bad guy, like, the killer, like he was a sick fucking, he was crazy, and he was a monster the whole movie. But in order to get full revenge, the secret agent,
he had to like become a monster himself.
He had to become a monster, and he had to actually humanize the monster, because like honestly, like when you watch it, it doesn't like, because I was telling Frank too, like this guy is such a piece of shit that even though he's getting fucked up, never once does he ever stop to think, oh, my behavior is the cause of it. He's just pissed off that his plans are being thwarted, And it's not till the very end when he finally has him, and when he stabs him in the cheek and he starts crying. Like, that's the first time you actually, at least for me, felt like, okay, now he's getting revenge, because
And that's what they said in Reddit. Like, he humanized the monster. Now this guy has become a human because he's scared of him, who has now taken on the role of this monster, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just a very interesting look at revenge, you know? And like, how far is too far, you know?
Exactly.
And it was a really good movie.
And if it's worth it, and if more violence begets more violence, and it's a cycle, and it just doesn't really fix anything. In the end, when he's laughing and or mostly crying, I would say, but kind of like a laughter in there. It says a lot, I think, in that moment at the very, very end, when he's crying, but he's laughing, and it's like he kind of has a conclusion or whatever, or, satisfaction, but he doesn't really, because his girl's still gone. And it's kind of like, it's kind of like, it reminds me a lot of the end of Midsommar, when she's smiling and how he's laughing. It's very, very similar in a sense that he became evil and became the monster, but there's kind of like a satisfaction in it at the same time. There's like an evil satisfaction in it.
Yeah, no, dude, that's a good way to put it, because that's like kind of what they were saying too, is that it was almost like a freedom in its own way,
Yep.
Because like, if you think about it, like when his fiance died, obviously he was devastated, which most people would be, but then he went into this revenge mode.
Mm-hmm.
And then when his fiance's dad and sister are brutally murdered, there's really no sign of emotion from him. It's very like, fuck it, and then at the end it ends with him laughing. He obviously is pissed, and that's why he's like, all right. I love when he says that to him, by the way, at the end, when he finally has him tied up again, and he's like I fucking wrote it down. He says let me see, because I was like,
when the killer dude is saying to him,
no.
Okay.
Let me see, I have it right here.
The killer dude.
I
guess they're both killer dudes.
Yeah. Fuck, what does he say? No, it's damn, I thought I had it written down. It's like right before he puts a cigarette on his eye. He's like because the guy's like telling him like he's like, I won already or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like no, he's like, you're right. He's like, it's my fault for, he says something fucking dope, like, it's my fault for treating you like a human, or he says something like that, and then he puts the cigarette on his eye. It's like towards the very end.
I might be able to pull it up. I could probably pull it up out of the movie right here.
It's such a simple line, but I just love the way it is, because it's like, it reminds me of Rust when he tells in True Detective, when he tells Ginger in the back, he's like, I'm so sick of talking to you like a man.
Oh yeah.
That's what it reminded me of. And then he puts a cigarette out on his eye, and then he stabs him in the cheek and shit.
Yeah.
Fuck, what does he say?
Hold on, I'm about to find out.
All right.
You say it, you're scared. Is that the very end?
It's like towards the very end, when he has him locked up.
He has him locked up here. I'm having him play in the movie. Oh shit. I fucked up.
It's right before he puts that cigarette on his eye, he says it, and then he puts a cigarette out on him.
Oh, so it's before the guy's talking.
No, because
let
after
me
he
live,
puts the
please.
cigarette.
When he says "Let me live, please."
Yeah, but it's the secret agent who says it though.
Okay.
And he says it right before he puts the cigarette out. If you have the part where he puts the cigarette out, it's literally right before he puts it out.
I'm right here. I'll kill you when you're at your worst moment, when you most tremble in pain and fear. I'll kill you then. I said, yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh, it's not the cigarette. That's after he stabbed him. Is it before he stabs him?
Yeah, it's before he stabs him.
Okay.
He puts the cigarette out on him first.
You son of a bitch. Hurry up and kill me, you bastard. I don't know what he says. I'm right here. Oh, yeah, he's smoking the cigarette. Looks pretty cool. Okay, you're right. Is this part? I made a mistake. No choice, just staring at him. He stares back. I underestimated you.
Wait, keep going. You'll know. It's right before he puts the cigarette out on him, right after he says the line.
Okay. I think I'd seen. Oh, he hit that fuck. He dragged that cigarette hard, bro. Like a real fucking Asian. Those motherfuckers smoke. I'll treat you right from now on.
That's what it is.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's such a simple line. I just like how he said, because he's saying like how he underestimated, and then I like how he says, "I'll treat you right from now on." And he puts the cigarette out, like he realizes, like, yeah, I did fuck up, like by letting you go. Like now I'm just gonna fucking torture you until the end, you know? Yeah. Dude, and the way he kills him too, how he sets him up so his son actually opens the door and his head gets chopped off. I was like, dude, it's so brutal. But back to what you were saying, I do agree. Like there is like, it's almost like in the beginning, he's just super distraught, but because he becomes such a monster, it's almost like he finds a freedom in that, a freedom from the emotion of having to deal with the fact that everybody from his family is pretty much dead. Now he's his own monster, so that's like the laughing, crying. It's like a mix, you know?
Yeah, it's literally like Midsommar, bro. It's wild. Like the ending, the conclusion, like is very, very similar. It's like I love that. Yeah, man. I fucking loved the movie. I really liked it a lot. I thought it was fucking really entertaining, fun to watch. I thought it was it's super interesting. Like I've never really watched a Japanese film. I don't think ever.
It's a Korean
or Korean. I'm sorry, a Korean film. But fucking, I'm definitely down to watch more. I've heard good things about Korean horror.
Yeah, have you? Films. You've never seen it won a bunch of awards. Parasite. That was a Korean film.
I've heard about it.
Came out.
Heard about it a lot.
It's good. It is good. I mean, I think it gets more credit. It's a good movie for sure. Like, watch it because like you'll be entertained the whole time. But I mean, like, you know, for all the praise it got, like I felt like I've seen better movies.
It won an award, right?
Good movie.
And it was like a big deal. It won an award as a Korean film or something.
Yeah, it won all the awards. I think like it won the best picture. But it is a good movie, dude. And I will say this, like, it's very it's not similar to this at all, but it's like interesting. Like, you know, it takes a lot of turns that you really don't see coming. That, like I said, it's different than typical American movies. Like it's like they're different types of twists.
Yeah,
like, you know, that you don't see coming because we're not used to that. You know,
their culture is so different. It was like I don't even necessarily know if this movie right here would be considered like having any sort of action in it in Korea or South Korea or wherever they are because it has a lot of fighting. He's like swinging around poles and kicking people in the face, and there's like a lot of fucking action.
People up.
Yeah, he's fucking people up. And I think to us, you know, this is like unusual, but I bet in romantic comedies in Korea, they fucking throw some kicks, and it's just like it's just part of life, like, you know, like maybe, or is that just like my thing?
I think because Parasite there's no violence, nothing at all, you know. Okay. I don't know. Well, there's violence, I think but it's not like this type of violence.
I think the violence in American movies is different than violence in maybe Korean movies, in a sense that like violence in American movies might be like, have a gun, I'm about to shoot you. There's drive-bys and car chases maybe. But I think maybe this is an assumption, but I've noticed, I guess, in foreign films and stuff like that it seems like martial arts is a lot more normal and just kind of like a part of everyday violence and shit.
I mean, it would make sense because, like, you know, like it is.
Yeah.
I don't know what the Korean version of it is. I know there's so many different versions of like martial arts.
Like, you know. Here, you're probably more likely to get punched in the face than you are to get kicked in the face. I would think you'd get kicked in the face over there more than punched in the face. This might be just totally horseshit.
They're probably California bullshit. Us,
exactly. No, yeah.
I can't even get my foot up to someone's face. You know?
Bro, I feel you. Dude, have you ever tried to do this? Like, have you ever like looked at somebody who's really flexible and see how far they can stretch? Like, it's fucking wild. Like how unflexible. Bro,
it's crazy. Yeah, you know, I've actually been trying to do that when I work out. Like, side note, you know, I've been trying to stretch more like before and like actually like pushing myself to stretch. It's fucking hard.
Flexibility is like the most like it's so important when it comes to health. It's wild. But before we start trading recipes and diets, so go ahead. I don't know if you have anything to go on.
No, it was just because you were talking about Korean films in general, dude. There's another one too that actually when you look up I Saw the Devil, it pops up a lot. I've seen the American version and it was not that great, but I hear the Korean one is amazing. It's called Old Boy. Have you heard of it? Bro, the American version, okay. So like it was weird and like it wasn't great, but the twist at the end was fucking like, what the fuck, you know? So like I haven't watched it, but I've always wanted to see the Korean one because that's the original, and I hear the Korean one's amazing. So that movie's basically like this dude, if I remember correctly, wakes up in this room and he's been trapped in this room for like 20 years, and then he finally the door finally gets open and he like wakes up in like this whole new type of world, but he's like in Korea, but then it gets like fucking crazy. Like it's crazy, like super dark, like, you know, same vein as this movie, very just like, oh shit, like very gritty, very underworld, I've heard about underworld Korea. Yeah, it's interesting. We should probably check it out. Like,
yeah, a lot of
I've never seen the Korean version.
Yeah, for sure. I'd be totally down. Like in doing research for the movie, I found this dude's YouTube channel called Spooky Rice, and he does this video series called Disturbing Breakdowns, and he did one on I Saw the Devil, and he did it fucking so well, bro. It was like so funny and so like intricate, and he breaks down the entire movie from beginning to end with like visuals, and he adds like funny commentary, but not like too much. Anyways, I bring him up because there's a lot of movies on his channel that I've never heard about, and it looks like he does mostly like horror films. So it's like there's a bunch of shit on here. Like there's this thing called The House That Jack Built. Have you ever heard of that?
Bro, I thought I brought it up when we did the climax episode. Maybe I didn't, but yeah. So that's with Matt Dillon, right? Where he's the murderer and like Uma Thurman and shit. Yeah, dude. I remember when it came out, people were like walking out of the theater and they were pissed because I guess there's like a really brutal scenes of him like cutting off this girl's nipples and like torturing animals and shit, like torture scenes. And Gaspar Noé actually he gave an interview because this was like I think I heard about it a little bit after climax or something, or around then when I heard of him, and he gave an interview, and because he said that everybody was walking out, and he said that it was his favorite movie at the festival. He's like, honestly, he's like, when it ended, he's like, I couldn't stop laughing. He's like, it was just so funny. He was like, because he was saying that it's just so dark and crazy that he's like, it's humorous, but like, nobody else thought that way. But I like that was his interview. He's like, I thought it was amazing. He's like, I stood up and applauded after, He's like, everybody, like half the theater laughed, but I heard it's crazy, dude.
I want to hang out with
I've
that
always
guy.
wanted to check it out, but like, I was like, I'd be down just for the experience of it. But I remember reading about it, and it sounded like fucking like dude, intense, like a snuff film,
I watched this movie in our room while we were going to sleep, and I ate like 30 milligrams of edibles. And
how do you stay awake? It's so long, bro.
I know.
I was
good,
like
towards the end. It was actually not hard to stay awake, I would say, on those edibles and going to bed. It was like 11 by the time I finished it, but because it's entertaining, and it was kind of like I want to. Yeah,
it is entertaining. Yeah. It stays moving.
Yeah, it does. It's a good fucking movie. When it comes to actual movie, like an actual movie, it's a good, fun movie. A little bit. I don't know if this is just a culture thing. Well, we'll get into that later. But anyways, I was watching it, and I legitimately had to mute it at quite a bit of the parts or turn it down to like almost all the way down, because it's basically just a girl getting raped on TV or about to get raped, and it was like I couldn't even because I don't know. It just didn't, with the girls in the room over there and then Monica trying to sleep right here next to me. I don't know. It just felt uncomfortable.
Bro, I feel you. Bro, I feel you. Cause like we have the smallest apartment. So like sometimes I'll watch these movies like that, and like even like climax, like some of the breathing, I'm like, man, if you're outside the window and you just hear the sounds, they probably think I'm like bumping some like crazy porn, like
porn. Yeah,
some like fetish shit, like, and I'm like, man, I gotta turn it down. Like I normally just leave it up because whatever.
I feel you.
But I know you have the girls there though.
That's the only thing. And then plus, I don't want to get yelled at by this fucking psycho Latina sleeping next to me, bro. Trust me, it's been a lot of issues sharing a room that we never fucking dealt with. But to go back to the movie, I guess it was okay. So I guess I wouldn't say that these are like what's the word like that you could use, and that's a polite way of saying things that you didn't like or whatever. Like these things. I guess any sort of like downsides to it I saw was that I thought it was a little bit too cliche with some of the plot points, like how he accidentally found the room where she was murdered. I thought that was a little too like, oh, he just opened the door and there it was. And then all of a sudden he found that ring without like just, I thought that kind of snapped me out of it. Those are those moments where it was just like, that was a little too obvious, I guess. I don't like obvious things that just are there to push the plot forward. I think he should have found the room at the very least a different way. Although I don't want to act as if I didn't, like as if I have the right to make that statement. But I want to say it because I think it was a little fucking too obvious.
I see what you're saying with the ring, but with the room, like, I don't know, part of me feels like too, because like even reading the synopsis, like even before watching it, like the dude is like they talk about him like he's this secret agent and like that works for the government. So I figure like he probably has some sort of, even though they don't show it, but some sort of like, because he's obviously is able to get that tracking device. Like he obviously has methods to find people, and like when you're at a certain level, like, some people literally do specialize in fucking finding people,
Yeah, that's true.
So it's like, I don't know. That's, well, I guess I could get the ring though. Cause the ring, like, how did he even see that down there?
At the same time though, if you see the obvious, a sign of somebody rinsing blood into a drain, you might check the drain. You know what I'm saying? That's probably obvious to do. So maybe.
And then he also like he had the name of the guy, from the dad, So it's not like he went out and found this guy.
And I thought that was another plot point that was a little weird too. Like, oh, he just we fucking broke it down into these 4 people. I don't know. I guess this is just me thinking too much, and just like because we watch so many movies and shit. Sometimes I notice those things that most people wouldn't notice, and maybe but also it didn't take away from the movie. I would say that it didn't. It was just something I noticed. And it could just be a culture thing too. Like maybe just some fucking dorky, Mexican boy from California notices those things, and most people in, wherever else.
Yeah, I feel like though, like those things though, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if it's a culture thing there. Cause like, I feel like, dude, like the things you're saying right there, like so many American movies do this where it's like glossed over. Yeah. And I hate that sometimes too. That's why I didn't feel like it as much. I did in the beginning though. I did feel a little weird when he gave him the 4 pictures. Cause I told Frankie too, I was like, how does he know that one of these are the guys? And then Frankie was like, well, didn't you hear him? He said that these are possible suspects who have been accused of crimes similar, So it's like, I was like, okay, I guess, like, I guess I get it, I get it, and they have to move the movie forward, So it wasn't totally out there. The one thing that was though, and I wrote it down, and it was the only part that kind of took me out of it, and I'm glad that there was no other parts like this, was when they found her head, and then the dude accidentally drops it out of the bag in front of all the reporters, and it goes rolling. I was like, is this supposed to be kind of funny? I was like, that part threw me out of it, because I was like, dude, no way this would happen. Like, no way. The
whole scene,
carrying it in this box and then just dump it on the fucking side. No way. Like, there's no way.
That whole scene
person's head
was wild, because it was like they're all fucking like running like a stampede right when they find what the fuck is happening? Like, is this, that would never happen like here. I think that's maybe there. Like, there's not as much
that too.
distance between the media and the government. It's just they're all the same. I think maybe.
It is weird though. I mean, that would be something to look up, because I always at least was under the impression that America was the one that had it the worst with the way the media is with people in like the space, and like most other countries. Because I know in like Europe, there's like boundaries. Like there's actually like certain things they can't do, versus in the US, they pretty much can do anything besides break in your house or like touch you, but they can take pictures of you anywhere or whatever. Like I always thought there were rules. So I don't know, maybe they're not. That's what I was confused though, because that's what I was saying too. I was telling Frank, I was like, dude, how are they letting this happen? I was like, these motherfuckers are contaminating this whole scene. All running around with cameras, like just, So that part took me out of it. And honestly, it was kind of fun. Like, it wasn't funny because it was a sad scene, but when the head rolled out, like, I was like, what the fuck? Like,
there was a couple parts that were funny. There was one part where at the, I forget which scene it was. Oh, when they're talking about, I forget who they're talking. They're talking to the dude where he thinks he's one of the, where Lee thinks he's one of the suspects, and he finds him jacking off, and then he fucking beats his balls up with the wrench or whatever. And then the doctor or somebody's talking to him, and he's like, hey, who broke your balls? and then the scene changes. I started laughing out loud. So funny. That shit was so funny to me. Who broke your balls? Hey, who broke your balls? It's not even that. He didn't even say, he said, hey, in fucking Korean. But it was just like, that part was so funny to me.
Bro, he was fucking people up.
Yeah, he was.
Dude, that part when he cut his Achilles tendon too.
Yeah.
They actually showed him like slice through it. Like, it was a long scene, because normally like I've seen that in Hostel and shit. But it's like a quick. But this one, like, you saw him like digging it, and I was like, oh shit! I was like, he really got him.
Yeah,
but dude, that's what tripped me out though. I was telling Frankie that every time I was like, man, this is how you know this guy is a piece of shit. That never once has he stopped to think, if I stopped attacking girls, maybe this guy would leave me alone. Like, he's just pissed off that he can't fucking rape these girls.
So was he raping them? I don't think he was raping at first, right? He did this guy. That was a question I had.
All of them. Yeah, I don't think he was raping all of them, but it seemed like he made. But maybe
I thought Lee pushed him to start raping, and that was kind of like a touch on why revenge is so dark. Because I think when he's first kidnapped that schoolgirl, I think there's something he's saying where he's like, something, I took it, I could be totally wrong, but I took something he said like, I don't normally do this, or fuck it, I'm gonna do this. And there was like something he said.
Was saying about it because she was young,
Yeah, maybe it was because she was young then. Maybe not because it was a rape thing.
I don't know.
You're good.
You can go ahead. No, it's in the kitchen. Yeah, no. Sorry.
Sorry. So was it obvious that was he a rapist before, or did he just start raping?
So, dude, because they talk about like. I think there's a part where they actually like discuss this guy, or not discuss, but discuss how there's been like a string of missing women and shit, you know? So I don't know. Cause dude, that's what I was confused a little too, because in the beginning with the wife, like that's what I thought. I was like, oh shit. I was like, we're going to have to watch a rape scene, blah, blah, blah. But then we didn't, you know, we had to watch her get her arm cut off and like get tortured, but there's no rape, you know? And it didn't seem like he even tried, you know? Like it seemed like it was more about the torturing than it was the actual, it was more about the power over them than
exactly
it was the actual rape of it, you know. So maybe he was, because
I don't think he was raping before. I think the whole situation
was it only that nurse, right?
It was the nurse and that little girl, but the little girl I think was first.
The little girl,
yeah, in the car, and the whole time. I think I don't think he was a raper. I think that it was a pivotal. I think it was a point where there were things he was saying, like, I don't know. I could be totally wrong on this. It'd be worth researching or whatever. But I don't think he was. I think he drove him to start raping, like out of hatred and like rebelliousness or some shit like that, evil. But I think that it was kind of like a thing to add, and hey, if this guy never tried to go for revenge, all these little girls might have been safe. All these people who were killed by him would have never been killed. And I think that
he was killing before the wife, though. You know,
true. But it's like I don't know if he would have raped. I think that I'm pretty sure. I'm like I would bet 70. I would be like 75% sure that I don't think he was raping before that. And I think that this is what pushed him.
I don't know. It's
because why wouldn't he have raped the girl in the beginning?
So I was thinking, okay, so this is my point. Maybe he didn't, but then again, the nurse too, because that's the only thing that throws it off. Because, okay, my thinking of it when I first saw it was that he didn't go after the wife because she was too old. Like, you know, like he wanted, like sexually, he wanted a younger girl. Because that's why, like, because that's what he says. Like, I don't normally, like, I don't know, though. I could be wrong. Either way, dude. It's
not to take away. It's not to take away from how evil he is or nothing. It's just to say that I think that when you want revenge, it makes things worse. And I think that might be something added. I think that might, but I don't know. I think it's something we could easily find out. Like I'm gonna look it up right now. Like why the fuck not?
Look it up. Yeah, I'm pretty sure though, dude. In my mind, I don't know, dude. I don't know what I thought. All I knew was he's a piece of shit. But you are right though, because later when we see his accomplice who's eating the people, he brings up how he likes the hunt, you know, the other guy likes to hunt the prey and to torture them, and that's where he gets his satisfaction. So you're right though, you know, like he was, it did seem like he wasn't raping, he was more about the actual hunting and torturing of these girls. But I don't know, dude, like I feel like if you're able to knock a girl out, undress her and cut off her arms and shit, you're probably pretty capable, or maybe have raped somebody before, you know. I don't know, you know, like I feel like they're not too far off, you know. He was doing some crazy shit no matter what.
I think there's definitely serial killers who don't rape though. And I mean, it's not like I'm trying to make this dude seem like he's not as evil as he is, but I'm just curious as to because that's what it seemed like it was. Yeah. I'm pretty sure there was things he said that made it seem like he doesn't normally rape.
Right. Yeah, there are moments that make it seem like that's not. Yeah, and then like I said, that guy at the end even brings up that he likes the hunt, you know.
So
and that he eats the people for him, you know.
So
not for him because he likes them too. But
if anybody's watching this, and I'm sure if you're this far into it, you've seen the movie. What do you guys think? And I think that there's people who watch these podcasts like way later after we release them just because they're looking up like fucking I don't know who's looking up Wizard of Oz looking up Midsommar, and then we pop up and then they just watched the movie or whatever, so they're like all into it. So if you watch the movie and you're listening or you're watching this right now, let us know in the comments, what do you think? Like I would be please let us know, because I really want to know. But interesting, very interesting.
You are right though, because like me and Frankie, because she watched it with me, so like we did have like that conversation when it first happened, because Frankie said too, after he killed the wife, she's like, oh man, I'm really glad he doesn't rape him. She's like, not that it's any better, but she's like, I'm glad we didn't have to see that. And I was like, yeah, me too. I was like, I thought we were gonna have to watch like a rape scene, and I was like, I hate fucking those scenes. Honestly, like are way worse than I feel like watching people get tortured.
Yeah,
they're just so fucking, they're just terrible. But so that's why too I was a little thrown off too. So I don't know. Yeah, I mean,
it'd be interesting to find out.
I would say he could have. I mean, he just seemed like an unstable dude, though, psycho, you know.
So what would it mean though? I guess we know what it would mean. It would just mean that revenge made the evil become more evil and begot more violence and more evil because he wanted the revenge.
Or maybe something that neither of us considered until right now. I just thought of it. Maybe the reason he didn't start raping until after is because he was injured. He was too injured to go about doing his regular business of chopping up all these girls and kidnapping them because, you know, he gets fucked up the first time and he's pretty hurt. That's why he goes to the doctor. He goes to the doctor because he's fucked up. And then he's fucked up. And then he tries to rape that girl. And then the other little girl too, he's also fucked up during that part too from this guy. So maybe it became like that's easier than fucking I don't know though. I don't know how that would be easier if you were hurt, I guess, because that would still be a struggle. So I don't know, dude. I guess I
don't know. I think that what I took from the movie was that because this dude was belittling him and being a piece of shit to him, and he was or whatever, not being a piece of shit to him, he was getting what he deserved or whatever. But I'm just saying, like, because he was getting fucked up and he felt belittled and his power was taken from him, he had to do something even worse to get that power back.
Yeah, he wanted to exert the power because before it was like
just killing, getting away with it.
And most of the time, or at least they kind of hint that most of the time when he was cutting off their pieces, they were already like kind of hurt, you know? Oh, you know what? No, we're both wrong, bro. Think about it. Before he attacks him the first time, he finds him in that grave trying to rape that girl. And that's the first time he attacks him, when he's in the greenhouse. That's the first time he ever goes after him. And remember, he has the thing and he's like, and he comes after him they fight, remember? And it's the first time they fight. And remember, he has the girl in the little grave and he's trying to rape her. And then he's like, taking off her underwear or something. And then the dude shows up. And then that's when he hops out of the grave and like, oh, where is he? And then the dude fucks him up. And that's the first time he fucks him up. So before that, he was already trying to rape this chick.
Why was he at that place where the trees were and shit? What was he doing there?
The greenhouse? He was looking for that guy. So I think that guy.
No, what was the killer doing there?
That was like, I don't know. I think that was like around the spot. I don't know. I think that was like around the spot where he was. I don't really remember why he was there.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me look. I don't want to fuck this up. Let's try to find. We got to know if this guy was raping. We got to figure this out. Okay, hold on. So, yeah, the shallow grave. Yeah, I think that maybe he made the decision to start. Maybe I don't fucking know. Shit, yeah. Who says I can't like you? I don't know. Whatever. What's wrong with that? Maybe he's just a killer. I don't fucking know. Whatever. Maybe not an important plot point, but I'm curious what other people would say.
Yeah,
you're right.
To get off of that. Another another part that was like, it's just gross, dude. I was telling Frank that when we were watching it too. Like, I've noticed like a lot of movies actually do it, and it's such a simple technique. And I guess I never noticed. I think because we're watching movies more now, I notice when the dude at the end is eating the people. He's eating the meat, even before you know that it's people. Just the way they do shots, and several movies do this, where they do close-up shots of them eating like with their hands, and it's ravishing. And like I've seen it in other American movies too, where like literally just a bunch of shots of literally people eating and like flashing, and if they're eating kind of ravenously, like with the right like angles and like shit, like it gives it a very unsettling and almost disgusting feeling. Yep. Like, and then once you find out it is human, it's even worse. You're like, oh shit. Like, cause you kind of know, like when you see him, I'm like, what the fuck's he eating? Like, I thought we thought he was eating the dogs at first, but then it was like, because he had those dogs out there. Remember he had the dogs. So I was like, oh, is that what he's eating? But then he said the people, and I was like, oh shit, and like the way he was eating. And I like how they did that too. They almost made it seem like the human meat was driving him crazy, which I've heard before. I forgot what I've seen that in before, where they talked about it, like people who eat human meat, like it can drive you like crazy. No, I forgot what it was, which makes sense.
In Game of Thrones, they did like the Thens.
Yeah, they ate humans, and they were all fucking psycho too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
it's in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Actually, maybe it's in It's Always Sunny. There's an episode where they eat human meat. Yeah. They get tricked. So they eat the steak, and then one of their friends is like, oh, it was human meat, but he's just fucking with them, and they take it seriously. So then they're trying to break into the morgue because they're like, I need one more piece, and they're trying to eat people and shit. It's pretty funny, but but yeah, dude, that part was fucking crazy. It reminded me a lot of you seen Sin City, right?
No. Bro, I tried to watch it. I tried to watch it when it first came out, but I wasn't into shit like that back then. I'd probably fuck with it now.
Bro, that's honestly that's one of my favorite, like, I don't know, I guess comic book movies for sure. But I mean, it's just a great movie. It's just a great, it's a graphic novel, but it's a great fucking movie. But there's well, maybe we'll watch it one day. But yeah, there's a part with Elijah Wood. You know Elijah Wood from Frodo.
Lord of the Rings, yeah.
Yeah. He's fucking, he plays a character in Sin City. He's fucking psycho. He doesn't talk. He just wears glasses and he just smiles the whole time. But he like eats people and shit. Is fucking crazy. It reminded me a lot of the dude at the end in a way. But dude, yeah, that shit was crazy. It was just, oh dude, that was another thing. Okay, this is one other thing one other plot hole. I don't know if it was just a plot hole in this movie. I don't know if people in Korea are just stronger, but how the fuck he beat both of those fools up in the head? The dude's heads were leaking at the end. Remember, he beats both of them up. The guy who's eating people and the killer. And he's literally, the dude who eats people, he literally hits him till his skull cracks and it's dripping blood and he's still hitting him. But then after that fool's alive in the hospital. And so is the other dude.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Dude, in that hallway when he actually breaks into the house, dude, he fucking literally, I thought it was the end there because I was like, oh dude, they're dead. Me and Frank were both like, they're dead. I was like, dude, both of their heads are leaking. And even the main killer, after his head was leaking, he hits him like 15 more times. And then I was like, dude, and then they were alive at the end. And I was like, dude, are they just stronger in Korea? They can take more shots to the head? Like, do they have better medicine? Like, how are they still alive? Because there were a couple times I was like, how's this fool? Like, he fucked them up, especially at the end. I was like, dude, they cracked their skulls. Yeah. And then this fool was like running around like a couple weeks
I did
later.
notice that too. I did notice that. I think the guy in the video, in the Spooky Rights video, said something like that. And he said he said something about like that. But yeah, it's weird.
It was just such a brutal killing. I was like, okay, this has to be the end. But then they were both still alive after. I was like, oh shit, how does anybody survive
I think it's like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon shit when they're running on the trees. It's like
you could do that, bro.
I don't know if that's racist what I just said. I didn't mean it that way. But I mean, I think there's like a suspended disbelief that foreign films have that maybe American films don't. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, it's not like they're ignorant. It's more so it's just like, it's a fucking movie. And we have that here too.
Oh, we definitely have it here, bro. Look at the fucking Fast and the Furious.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
I saw the new trailer where the magnet connects to the car and swings them around over the side of a cliff. I was like, fucking, all right.
Dude.
I think everybody does it. I just was thrown off because the brutality of that last scene, the way they had the skulls crack and the blood drip out, the movie kind of made it seem like, oh yeah, they're definitely dead. Yeah. And now he's just beating them to a pulp. So that's why I was just thrown off by it. I was like, oh shit, they're not dead? Like, he fucked them up. Like, you know, like you'd have to be dead, dude, if your skull was literally cracked and like squirting blood, you know?
Not if you're Choi.
Like, damn. Yeah, not him. Hey, that boy went through a lot and he never gave a fuck, dude. Even at the end when he went and killed the family and then he showed up at the police station to turn himself in.
Dude,
like,
you kind of start rooting for him, low-key, which is kind of weird. You kind of like, I know you don't want to say that, but I did. You low-key, like, rooting for him is in some way. No, I think that, okay, then there was this, I don't know if rooting for him is the right way to put it, but he became a cool character. I thought I really enjoyed when he was on screen.
For sure. I feel like looking back at him now, like, because when I was doing like research last night and looking up shit, just looking at even the actor, his picture, I'm like, man, like now I kind of like it was a really good role for him.
Yeah,
even though
he did really good.
He was a piece of shit. He was scary. Like I feel like in some of those scenes, like it did. Like I was like, oh man, this really makes the title of the movie even more potent, just because like he does almost have this. Because he doesn't really give a fuck, even when he's hurt. He still just wants to inflict pain. It's like he is almost like an embodiment of the devil. But then I also like how towards the end, the main character also becomes an embodiment of
like the monster, the devil, and it's like, yeah, it's like revenge. Like even though he didn't, it's like what Mark Manson said. He had no control over the situation, but he is responsible for react to the situation, you know. And so like it wasn't his fault that his wife died, but it was his fault that he went on this bloody quest and ended up getting his girlfriend's whole family killed.
Yeah, and other strangers too who got killed and murdered and or raped. I mean,
well, Frankie said Prince Philip died.
I heard, but I thought he had been dead for like a long time.
Oh my god!
Mikey said he thought he'd been dead for a long time. He looked like it, bro. He
like
looked like
dead man walking. Yeah.
Yeah, like the suds. Remember when SpongeBob got the suds?
Yeah. He looked like that thing I sent you about your vaccine, Brad, when he goes like that. The fucking yeah.
How old was he?
Hey, the Queen's right next. The Queen's has to be next.
Yeah. See, he lived a life.
The Queen's next, Brad. It's gonna be chaos.
The Queen Bee.
Mm-hmm. That's what they always die together.
All right, thanks for the information. That's that we gotta do. Breaking news. It's just in. Prince Philip dead.
I heard that like 2 hours ago. Frankie's
I haven't even really. I know. Frankie's just read the newspaper.
What's going on? Shit, bro. Okay, so yeah, I think just to expand on that, I kind of just understood the title right now. I saw the devil. He saw the devil in himself. In the end, you know, and that's kind of what it was. And if you look at the cover, the American cover, it's Lee, and then it has like a knife going down, and in the knife you can see Choi's face. So it's like they have the same face. It's kind of
like a reflection.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, that's true. That's kind of what I think that's a good way to round it out.
It's almost like the title, like Face Off, bro, with with is it Nicolas Cage and John Travolta?
That'd be so fun to do. That'd be so fun.
Bro, it would be. I remember seeing that movie when I was younger, and I fucking love that movie. I mean, when I tell people about like the premise now who haven't seen it, like it sounds stupid as fuck, but I remember seeing it and loving it. Like how does the murderer's face get switched with the detective's face? Nobody knows. But dude, but I remember watching it and I was like fucking loved it. But I haven't seen it in years. I'd be super down to do it though.
It'd be just real fun.
Nicolas Cage, you know?
We got to do a Nicolas Cage episode like once every few months for sure.
Exactly, just like a Father John and fucking Gaspar Noé too.
Yeah, that's true.
They're all staples here on Mind Control.
Fuck.
But nah, dude, the movie actually it was a really good choice, and like Frankie liked it too, and like I said, like I feel like for people who, I mean, if you made it this far, you probably have watched it, but if you're still listening and you haven't, I would recommend it, but don't be thrown off by the time, because I was like, fuck, it's like 2 hours and 40 minutes, like it was like almost 2 hours and 40 minutes, like that's kind of long, like because you know, like I don't feel like that's long if the movie's good. If the movie's shit, it fucking is the longest thing ever. So that's why I was worried. I was like, fuck, what if it's like slow? But then like instantly I was like, okay. And then I was like, all right. I was like, this is a really good movie. And then I will not lie, like maybe like 2 hours into it, it does get a little like, oh man, it's kind of long. But at the same time, it's still good. Yeah. And you want to know what's going to happen, that it does keep you into it, you know? And it's only like a brief moment where I got kind of fatigued, because then after I was like, okay, cool, we're back in it, you know, because then he goes after the girlfriend and the family, and I was like, because after a while, because you are kind of right, after a little bit, like I wouldn't say I was rooting for him because that guy was a piece of shit, but part of me felt like, bro, just kill him now, like, you know, like the whole game of like catch and release, like you know, and like it almost got like tedious, where like I almost got like, oh, is this the whole movie, like this is gonna keep happening? But then
another thing that
I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Another thing, just that gave me that same feeling was the fact that every time he was about to get a nut, Lee all of a sudden popped up. It's like, damn, man, give him 2 minutes at least. No, I'm just kidding. But that was a little like, oh, here comes Lee to save the day. It's like, I don't like shit like that. When right when something bad's gonna happen, all of a sudden the hero comes. Then it happened 4 times in the movie.
I did kind of like that aspect of it though. I like the knowing, like, all right, this motherfucker about to get it again. Like,
yeah, I guess.
Like, I would get kind of excited in a way, like, oh, come on, bro, get this fool before he goes too far. Like, get him.
like he deserves it. Like
to me, it just took away. It's like, okay, it would have made more sense if he would have like, no, I don't know, whatever. He still really did a lot of horrible shit. He still murdered that girl. He still murdered people, whatever. But it was just like, they were like, it was almost like using rape as a way to entice suspense, and it made it feel a little cheesy.
I see that. I could see that, like, you know, because it was always like, and he would get pretty far into it.
Yeah.
Where it was like,
can't you make me suspenseful without me feeling weird because of rape? Like, you should be more,
I can see that.
You know, and they did that in some other parts, I think maybe, but
I also
it got kind of just cheap, I think, after a while. Like, I don't need to almost be like, here, you're gonna see a rape, you might see a rape, and then it's like, you don't want to, and then it's just like, I don't know, maybe that's just, I don't know. Yeah.
No, I see where you're coming from. I see where you're coming from. I would say though, I feel like the decision probably comes from though, like, rape evokes such a strong response in people. That's like the thing, like, okay, people definitely are not going to want to see this. They're going to want him to come in and break it up, you know? Yeah. But I could see how also, like, after several times of it happening, it could be like, okay, like, come on, use something else, you know?
Yeah. Like, or just I don't know. Yeah. Or at the very least, make it more realistic to the point where it's like, it's not just dangling there to make me suspense or nervous, you know, make it seem more realistic in a sense. Like, there has to be more realistic way than just like showing these shots of this girl terrified and like this, like, I don't know. I'm sounding like I'm shitting on it. I'm really not, but I'm just saying, like, sometimes you have to use rape in a good way, in a respectful way, almost, maybe. I don't fucking know.
A respect in a good way.
Yeah, like, if you're gonna use those type of scenes in movies, it has to be done right, or else it's just fucking corny to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, exactly. Like Midsommar, fucking Hereditary, they use those pivotal moments of the movie in a way that launches it, and it's not used to dangle a carrot in front of you. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, it's like okay, we're going into it. It's like, you know, it's like watching Climax. It's like, all right, we're not gonna just touch on incest. We're gonna go into it. We're gonna show you it all. You know,
there you go. Like, be more. I don't know.
But whatever. I do feel like this movie, in a way, like, while it does, I guess, have a touch of reality kind of in it, I feel like a good part of the movie felt like it could also have been almost formatted like a comic book. Like, True. It's just so the fucking evilest person you could think of versus a secret agent who becomes evil as it goes on. Yeah, it almost felt like it could be a comic book. It's you know, like, it wasn't completely based in realism, because if it was, like, it would have been ridiculous.
That's true.
You know, it couldn't have been what it is, you know, without having a little bit of that fantasy. Like, I don't know what the word is.
I get what you're saying.
It was a really good movie, and I like it just because, like I said, like, I like these movies because I feel like expose me to different view. I don't know, different ways of different views of filmmaking, and like different just ways to tell stories, and I don't know, seeing like how it's portrayed in other countries.
It's interesting, It's interesting to see movies from other countries, because you kind of like are thrown in their culture in a way too, because, like, you know, their movies are their culture, and so it's like we can't listen to their music. You know, I mean, we can, but we don't know what the fuck they're saying. There's no subtitles for fucking albums, but you could watch a foreign film with the subtitles and get the point of the movie. There were times where it was like, I didn't want to read the subtitles. Like, at certain times, it was like I wanted to see the way that they were saying the conveying the feelings they had. That's one thing I noticed with foreign films. It's like there is a layer there when you have to read the subtitles, where it's like you're not necessarily fully getting the full scheme, or you're not getting the full art, I guess. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because, like, even though you're looking at it, I feel that way sometimes too. Like, you're not. Like, if there was something hidden in the background, it'd be kind of hard to catch it because you're reading, you know? Like if you were watching Hereditary and you didn't understand the language, it would be hard. Well, I guess there was no subtitles to that part, but it would have been hard if the kid was talking, you're reading the subtitles, and in the dark corner is the chick hanging, and it'd be kind of hard to see her because you're reading. So I get that. Because me and Frankie watched some anime, you know? Like, Attack on Titan, dude, is, like, fucking amazing. This is the last season, too. It's fucking amazing. But sometimes I feel that way. There's so much going on the screen, and I'm reading the subtitles, and I'm like, fuck. And there's, like, action, and it's like, So I'm watching it, but I'm like, man, I'm not getting the full experience if I wasn't reading and just watching the action because I'm kind of doing both,
Yeah.
Versus like a movie where I understand the language, I can just watch the picture if I want, or I can't. I normally have the subtitles on, but I don't need them, if I don't.
A lot of the time too, it's like there's a way that people say certain words and how their eyes change and shifts in a person's face that you won't notice because the subtitles sometimes. So it's like sometimes.
I do prefer subtitles over dubbed, 100%. I hate when they dub it with English. I'd rather just watch it in the original
for sure that. I would say that too. I've never really, I guess, went back and I've never watched that many foreign films, but I would think that I would rather watch the subtitles, read the subtitles.
Yeah, just because it comes up with anime. Like all the anime is also dubbed too, but I'm like, nah, like I'd rather just watch it like with the subs. You know, it's just I don't know, because it's like then it's the original actors and like you hear how like I feel like it was originally supposed to sound in their voices, so it's like adds to it.
Have you ever heard the original Pokemon without the like those
No,
voices?
I've never. I always forget, because Pokemon's been so like become so Americanized and American.
It's anime.
Yeah, like you forget that it's anime and it was originally in a different language. Like it almost feels like it's an American thing because it's so big. Or at least it was for so long.
Dude, that first episode, that whole first season, and that first movie, whoo! Talk about nostalgia, bro. Fire.
Dude,
and the way it went with the games, like it was.
Bro, I missed the games. They were great. Dude, we should do Death Note one day. I think you'd like Death Note. It's only one season. Yeah, it's only one season. And dude, it's basically, I always tell people this, it's basically Breaking Bad, just in a different form. Because it's about this kid who's a really good kid. And you watch his descent into becoming a really, really bad person. And it's all about this book called The Death Note that you write somebody's name in it and you can write how they die and they'll die within like a certain like 24 hours or something. And like he starts using it for good because it's very early on. That's what he uses the book to get rid of criminals, but then he kind of it gets really deep and he kind of becomes his own criminal, like because he's kind of playing God on who dies. It's a really good fucking show, and it's only one season and it's done, and it ends. Like we should definitely do it one day. Just because, it's like 36 episodes, but they're like 20 minutes each, so they're not long.
There's so much content that we can do. There's so much shit that we can do. I'll make that graphic right after we're done here too, and I'll send it to you.
Cool. I'm gonna do the intro too, because we're gonna leave in a little bit, so I'm gonna write it. But so if I don't record it right now, I'll have it tonight or something, because we'll be back by like 6 or 7. It's just like a food thing.
Yeah. No worries.
But
yeah, man. Hold on, real quick before we start wrapping up. What was I gonna say? Fuck, I lost my train of thought. There was something from way before. Whatever. What the fuck ever. I have a note here though. What other revenge movies are there?
Like
I was trying to think of some, and it was kind of hard. The one
Kill
Bill.
Amazing. Fucking Man on Fire is great.
Man on Fire. I mentioned that.
Yeah.
Would Lion King be a revenge film?
Yes.
It would,
yes.
huh?
Yes, Simba's coming back. I mean, in a way, Simba's coming to just take care of his people. He's not really coming to kill Scar as much, but it is revenge. He's coming because Scar took over his whole fucking his land and shit, And but I mean, Lion King is also the story of
Jesus Christ.
I think it's Macbeth. I think it's Macbeth.
Who's that?
Shakespeare. Let me make sure that's the one.
That's too highbrow for me, bro.
Let's see. Let me just make sure which one it is based off of.
Macbeth.
Oh, Hamlet. It's based off Hamlet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because in Hamlet, the dad's brother kills the dad and then marries the mom, and then Hamlet is banished for a long time, and then he comes back and then he gets revenge and kills the dad, and it's the same story.
Wow.
If you look it up, like it's there's like a lot of things about it. Like I'm pretty sure it's done on purpose, like based like because like some of those stories are so like fucking like classic now that they pop up. Dude, that's one thing that I've realized because of the podcast, and then just because of I guess watching a lot of different things and I guess reading more and shit, you realize how many things that even we see now today, that even when they feel original, if you really break them down, they're actually like just retellings of old things that have been around for so long. Like it's very hard to find things that are actually completely original. That's why that's exactly why I like doing things from different countries, because sometimes they do not play on these classic tropes that we have here, so they do feel more original. Because dude, so many things are like, if you really break them down, it's like, oh shit, this is the story of this, or this is that story. Like this is basically this. It's like, so it's it's interesting to see how it reminds me of when we did Immortality Key, how they talk about how all these things that we think are American things, like this is all Greek shit.
Yeah.
This is all this shit was Greek, and it's just been adapted. But pretty much all these sciences and things that we do are based off of what they laid down. It's not original to us. Like we're just adding on to what the Greeks gave us. It's just interesting. Yeah,
it is.
I don't know.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's like a lot of things I've been realizing have a lot to do with like the story of like Jesus Christ and shit. Like a lot of things like play on that story.
The first fairy tale, bro.
that's the original.
Yeah, hell yeah, that's the original.
The archetype.
I'm trying to think of a fairy tale name, but I can't think of one. The original Three Little Bears or whatever.
So yeah, I guess Lion King would be a revenge film. I'm glad I made that note.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, there's a couple other. Oh, dude, Gaspar Noé's Irreversible. I haven't seen it, but it is a revenge film.
Isn't the one before that, I Stand Alone, also kind of like that or no? Like
I don't know. I've never.
I don't know.
I don't know. I haven't, dude. I haven't. It's been a while since I've seen. I mean, the last thing was the climax. So I haven't seen anything in a while. So,
would you be interested in watching this movie? I don't know if we'd even do it for the podcast, but it's called.
Watching all of his movies now.
What is it called? Lux Aeterna or something like that.
The new one that he just released?
It just came out. It just came out, but it hasn't been released in the U.S. and it's not been released on files or anything. I guess that there was some like Netflix type of thing in France that they had where you could buy it. But it was only for like some certain amount of time, and nobody fucking ripped it, and I couldn't find it anywhere. I was all on subreddits and shit, but I found it, and so somebody sent it to me with the subtitles, so I have it now.
Is it good quality?
Good quality, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm super down to watch it, bro. Like
it's about.
No, go ahead.
Do you know what it's about?
No, I remember you. I think you told me about it, but I don't know.
Let me make sure I'm not thinking of the wrong name. I don't sound stupid right now, but I'm pretty sure it's kind of like almost like a behind the scenes kind of a movie. It's a movie based on the making of movies. If I'm thinking right, I'm pretty sure
It's a documentary.
No, but it's like a movie that's like supposed to be like behind the scenes or something like that. I don't have any information on it, but that's pretty much what I'm pretty sure it is. It's right here.
No, I'm super down to watch it. Like after doing the podcast on him too, it's just like I don't know. I'm just super interested in what he has to do, just because I know we talked about it on the podcast forum. Like I know whatever I go into watching from him, it's gonna be some sort of experience. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's how I feel. That's why I'm excited for I don't know if you've seen Ari Aster. His next film is going to be with Joaquin Phoenix, and it's called like Depression Avenue or something like that. Let me see what the fucking title is. But dude, when I saw it, I was like, dude, just because of Midsommar and Hereditary, I was like, dude, with Joaquin Phoenix and just the name, I was like, dude, it's gonna be fucking Disappointment Boulevard. I was like, dude, I know it's gonna be a piece of shit. It's gonna make me feel terrible, or something. Because both those movies, dude, they're great. But no, Hereditary is scary. But I feel like Midsommar sometimes is just because I've seen it multiple times. It can be a little depressing sometimes. You know, just watch, and not even because of what's going on, but just watching this chick cry half the movie kind of gets to you, just because she's so good at it. You know, it's kind of in just the silence of it. It's just such a fucking unsettling movie in a way. You know. But so good. If
there were chapters to your life, for whatever reason, Midsommar was a chapter of my life. It feels like that movie, the artwork. Anytime I see it, even a clip of it, it just takes me back to that moment in my life. It was so weird.
I think that's honestly one of my.
Be quiet. Fuck.
Honestly, dude, I think that that podcast was really cool to do, just because there was so much Easter eggs and shit in it. And actually, a week or two ago, John, Frankie's cousin, texted me, and he's like, "Hey, man," he's like, "I know I'm late." He's like, "But I just listened to your guys' Midsommar podcast." He's like, "It's really, really good." He's like, "You guys went into a lot of detail," and I was like, "Thanks," you know. I was like,
"Oh yeah."
And other people told me about that one too, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool." I was like, because I feel like that one was an exciting one to do. I feel like there was a lot. There's just a lot to unpack in those movies, you know. Sure. He adds a lot for being horror films. There's so much. I think we talked about it. It's so interesting that I never, for the longest time, I like horror films, but it was never my thing. But now, like that we've been doing podcasts and just seeing these different types of horror films, it's like, man, horror is actually a really good way to get across very strong messages without having it be like overbearing or in your face, because it's almost like masked behind the horror. But then when you really break it down, it's like, oh man, there's a lot, you know, like Hereditary is all about family, and like fucking Midsommar is about relationships, and it's like there's a lot to unpack in this movie that's literally about a cult, and this movie that's about this fucking demon. But there's so much more than that, you know, and it allows you to pack very powerful emotional punches without it becoming depressing.
Well,
you know,
I think that that's because fear is the strongest emotion that we feel beyond love, beyond happiness, anything. Fear is what truly controls us and shapes us and makes us do most of the shit we do every single day. So if fear is the way that these movies get to us, that's the way the door opens, and then it allows all this other shit to go in because we're constantly afraid anyways. And we've masked it so easily ourselves as human beings that when we feel that fear, it allows a lot of other shit to go in that we don't even know. I don't know. Maybe I'm high.
No, dude. I get it. It's true. And fear is, dude, because like we talked about it on other ones too. Like fear literally drives. I mean, that's literally what drives people to do the craziest shit. You know, fear of difference, fear of change, fear of losing power, fear of not having control.
Well, even
like, it's always fear that drives people to do bad things. You know,
even it makes us. I think fear drives us to just be who we are. I think the fear of who we truly are, fear of. Yeah, it literally everything about us as human beings is driven by the fear of death, fear of failure, fear of our childhood, fear of all this other shit that when these insecurities in our head. And I think that's kind of the underlying of everyone. And it really comes down to it.
Yeah, because fear it's like present in everything. And it's like, it's all like, it's healthy to have that fear. It's just, I guess, about how we deal with it, you know?
Exactly.
Like,
it's normal.
Like, do you fight against it, or do you just like fucking sit there and analyze it? Like, why am I scared? Which is like,
There's a way that you can become conscious of the fear that you have on a daily basis. And
bro, people do it, dude. That's what I was thinking about, dude. Like, you know, like you were talking about earlier, like in some like branches of martial arts or things, like they literally train themselves to be able to like be still, to be in a stressful situation, and to just shut your mind down and calm down and think rationally, which is such a hard thing to do, because when your anxiety is all the way up, how do you level yourself out? And like, I really wish, like, you know, I think I feel like I'm too old for it now, but I wish like when I was younger, I had gotten into some sort of like judo or martial arts discipline and really stuck with it, because like, not even for the fighting aspect of it, I feel like for the discipline it teaches yourself and your mind is like the strongest part. Like, teaches you to be calm in a crazy situation, which if you're calm, you're already a step ahead of everybody else, you know?
Exactly.
Because you can actually think rationally, which is the hardest thing to do when you're in these situations. Shit, I spilled my coffee. But yeah.
Oh yeah.
But
I feel you 100%.
Yeah, man. But I mean, anyways, to end it on the movie, I thought the movie was really, it was really good. It's really interesting, really good take on revenge, pretty violent. Liked it.
I definitely liked it as well. Yeah,
I'd actually like to see the actors in other things. At least the two main ones. Like, I like them. You know, I'd like to see them in other shit. I wonder what else they've been in. I didn't look it up.
It was directed by Kim Ji-woon as well. I don't know, and written by Park Hoon-jung. So I don't know if that's anyone that we should know, or
the director. I did look up the director. I guess his first couple movies were actually kind of good, and I guess recently, the more recent things, they've said that it's just kind of fallen off, and like they're just not great. But they say that this one is like one of his best, and that this one kind of went under the radar. This one's interesting too. I don't know if you read this. Where did I put it? Let me open it up. Where did I put it?
Have you heard of I Spit on Your Grave?
Yeah, I've always actually wanted to watch it. I heard it's great, but I've never watched it.
There's
but
like
I've
four.
Heard it's good.
There's like 4 of them.
Oh yeah, I've heard the first one's good. I don't know about the other ones, but dude, yeah, okay. So for this movie, did you know? So when this movie first came out, or was gonna come out in July 27, 2010, it was given a 19+ rating, which in Korea, which is like the highest, like the it's like NC-17 over here, you know, and you know NC-17, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's like their NC-17. So, but then they re-edited it and submitted it a second time because I guess in Korea, a movie can get a restrictive 19 plus rating and still be released, but there's no movie theaters in Korea that play the 19 plus movies. I'm guessing it had something to do with censure or whatever, So they re-edited it and then submitted it again August 4th, 2010, and they still got a 19 plus rating. And then because of it, they delayed the movie until August 11th, and then they redid it again, and then they finally got an 18 plus rating so it could be played because 19 plus. Yeah, it says 19 plus would have had severely limited release of I Saw the Devil in Korea because no theaters currently exist to show such films. So I was like, damn, that's pretty crazy,
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just like, I know, I don't know.
Do they show those here? NC-17? Do they even have NC-17 movies?
Yeah, see, even here, it's pretty like rare. Like some movie theaters will, but I mean, it's more like I feel like the independent ones, like you'll find them. But yeah, but I mean, most movies aren't even NC-17. Dude, you know which one we should watch? I've never seen it, and I hear it's great, and it's NC-17, and it's with Matthew McConaughey. It's called Killer Joe, and he's like a hitman. It came out like a couple years ago, and they say it's really good. And it's like, it got an NC-17 rating, and I was like, what the fuck? I was like, there's a couple other good people in it, but I've always wanted to see it. It seemed cool. Dope. Like, yeah, it seemed like it might be kind of funny too, like, like dark, like a dark type of humor in a way. But anyways, I just thought that was interesting about the rating and about how they didn't have to.
So is the version we're seeing, that version?
The version we're seeing is the re-edited version. I don't think there is the 19 plus version is out anywhere, Yeah. I would like to see it though. Like, I wonder, because this one is still pretty violent, But I bet they probably just had to take out a lot of scenes.
We didn't even talk about the fucking knife scene when he's driving and fucking cuts all those dudes up and the camera's swirling around as he's like stabbing the dudes that are like trying to rob him. Choi. Remember he's in that car and those guys have that knife behind his back. Dude, that was so badass. I fucking loved that scene. That was like one of the coolest scenes ever, dude. Like ever. Like cinematically or fucking direct, whatever they fucking did. Photography wise, whatever they did, it was fucking so dope. Even the choreography, dude, it was like I don't know, man. That was so dope. And the way the blood was splattering, it was fucking so cool.
No, that scene was crazy. I forgot about that scene.
yeah, that was fire. So
dude, it was a good movie. It was a good movie. It was interesting.
Yes. I liked it a lot. Oh yes, everybody check it out. Enjoy.
Yeah, I Saw the Devil. Go follow the Instagram at Mind Control Podcast. Leave us comments on the video. Leave us comments on the Instagram. Write us a message.
What's after that?
Whatever. Next week's 420. You wanted to do Up in Smoke?
We'll talk about it after the episode. We'll see. Okay. We're gonna do a surprise episode for you guys, so just be ready to be high. And
I already was telling myself, I was like, it's the 420 episode. I'm gonna smoke during.
We're gonna get faded, right? Maybe we do it in person this time.
During the episode.
That would be a good one to do in person for the first time.
Yeah. We'll talk about it. Maybe we could get a date because this week I'm actually because I go to school at Citrus, but we're actually on spring break. So every day, once I'm done with work at like 12:30 or 1, I'll just be done for the day. So
I'll bet I could probably go to your house after work.
Yeah, we can do it here.
Okay.
I'm down.
We'll talk about it. All right. All right, everybody.
Yeah.
Be there.